NFL free agency period has pretty much died down over the last few days, and a lot of moves have been made since then, since we got this whole thing started off. But I want to talk about on today's episode the winners and the losers of the free agency period. And then Demarcus Lawrence, then former Chicago Dallas Cowboy, goes on to the Seattle Seahawks and then says some things that in return had Micah Parsons response. And I got a response for Micah Parsons. Y'all know I'm going to talk about it all and break it down right after this.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another episode right here. So if you're tuned in with me, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, we are going to talk about the winners and the losers. L's up for them losers. As my man's Lil Durk once said, I'm not going to be able to get to every single winner and every single loser in this episode, but I am going to discuss the winners and the losers that stood out to me the most. The first team on the list is the Washington Commanders. Now, the Washington Commanders came in, new regime, new head coach, young quarterback, and they made it really far this past season to where some people really thought that they had an opportunity to make it to the damn Super Bowl. But in the NFC Championship game, they did take a L versus what then will become the Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. So what do the Washington Commanders do? They go out and get blue chip players to help bolster this team. Now, they made some re-signings, but the free agency additions that I believe stood out the most, it starts out with going out and get who I believe is one of the best left tackles in the damn game in Laramie Tunsil. Now, some people going to say, well, they gave up crazy picks for him. Who gives a damn? You have a window of opportunity that you must take advantage of with this young quarterback who ain't getting top dollars like a Jalen Hurts, like a Pete Mahomes, like a Josh Allen, like a my man's Lamar. I can't even, like, what the hell, but you go out and get somebody else to protect this young quarterback to allow him to continue to thrive. And then you go out and add a guy like Deebo Samuel. There are going to be some pushback from people who be like, hey, Deebo Samuels ain't really like that. And I say he is like that. I would say that just over there in the 49ers, that team pretty much ran its course. You know what I'm saying? So you go pick up a guy like that. Then you go out and resign Marcus Mariota, who I believe was a hell of a backup to support a young quarterback like Jaden Daniels. I remember a game, I can't remember who the opponent was, but it was later in the season in the fourth quarter that absolutely mattered, and you needed Jaden Daniels to stay calm and get ready and go be the damn star that he is. Marcus Mariota was right there on the side, walking them through it. Hey, get ready. This is your opportunity to go be great. This is how you need to go out there and perform. A little bit more than that. But the support that he was able to provide that young quarterback, it was evident, bro. It was evident. So that was a good signing. Then they pick up defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw and Eddie Goldman to help with their pass rush, because within their own division, you got to battle with some big mugs in Philly. So you go out there and you make some game-changing moves or team-building moves, in my opinion. So the Washington Commanders go out there and get the dub. The next team that I think did a really good job and deserves a dub is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, they have MVP Josh Allen, and we seen that they was able to make it far, but in that Kansas City game, they was not able to apply pressure the same way the Eagles was able to apply pressure to Patrick Mahomes. If the Buffalo Bills were able to apply a lot more pressure, they may have been in the damn Super Bowl. And minus all the bonehead tush push stuff, they needed that pass rush. So the Buffalo Bills, they go out there and they go and get Joey Bosa on a cheap deal for 1 year, a guy who's a multiple-time Pro Bowler, who got some juice, who just suffered a lot of injuries these last few years and has not really been productive, but you go out there and you sign into a one-year deal. I believe it's like $12 million. And you give yourself an opportunity to look at the whole situation like, hey, 1 year, $12 million, low risk, potential high reward. That's a move that you make. They go on and add on the defensive side by retaining one of the guys on their own and Greg Rasul. They bring in a guy who has been a bowling ball in the middle who played with Pittsburgh these last few years and Larry Ogunjobi. And then they also get Michael Hoach, who is a former Ram. So they add to the pass rush. I think that's a win. Now, I know there's going to be some people like, well, they're going to be missing 6 games. That's okay. The seasons are not won in the first 6 weeks. If it was the Chicago Bears, my team, we would have been damn near champs. But that didn't happen because it's a long season and you don't win championships within the first 6 weeks. You're supposed to be building to win on them first 6 weeks. So while those guys are going to be out for being suspended for performing enhancing drugs, they will come back later in the season and probably be as fresh as they can be and to where the games are getting closer and closer to mattering just a little bit more than those previous 6 weeks. So I look at that as a dub. Then I got to show love to my own team. To hell with y'all. I don't care. It is what it is. The Chicago Bears are winners. Why? Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times last season, most in the NFL. We thought that he was going to go out there and break the damn record, which I believe was at like 72. He was sacked 68 times. They go out there, they trade for Jonah Jackson. They go out there and trade for a guard who blocked for Tom Brady and then blocked for Patrick Mahomes. And I'm trying to see a connection, see if we can get some of that greatness out of Joe Thuney as a homer of my team. But nonetheless, they bring in Joe Thuney. Then you go out and get solid guys on a defensive line. Because as a fan of the Chicago Bears, and to keep it real with you, we got killed in the run game. We ain't had no pass rush towards the, you know what I'm saying, that back half of the season. Once guys went down, it was ugly. So you go out there, you get yourself a Grady Jarrett. Still, you know what I'm saying, older than most, but still a guy who can come in and provide you with some stability when it comes to run defense and rushing the damn passer. Then you go out there and get Dayo Adeyingbo, a guy who brings the Chicago Bears a lot of versatility. I will say the Bears probably overpaid for some of these players, but the Bears are in a position to overpay because we got to bounce back because ain't we tired of getting whooped? It's fair enough. And then they signed wide receiver Olamide. Yeah, I can't say his last name. We're going to say Z until I learn how to pronounce the last name. But a young wide receiver who had a career year over there with Washington, speedster, can go out there and block as miniature as he is. I think that's a win for my Chicago Bears. But we don't want to just celebrate the wins in the offseason in Chicago because, oh, my God, we always win the offseason, right? We want to win games on the damn field. Now, these are moves that help bolster the trenches for a team who desperately needs to compete within their own division before we start talking about playoffs and Super Bowls and all that stuff because the Green Bay Packers got decent-ass O-line and a D-line. The Minnesota Vikings, that's a team that's a winner for how they were able to bolster up their pass rush on the defensive side, especially with a maniac calling plays in their DC, Brian Flores. So that you got to show love to the Minnesota Vikings, and that will be my honorable mention for the winners. So let me know what y'all thinking. What winners did I miss? Let me know down below. Now let's jump into the losers. Number 1 on my list, Cincinnati Bengals. Just stupid. Can we just call it how we see it? Just stupid. You tag T. Higgins again. Why? If you didn't want to pay the man, trade the man. You would have had plenty of options. You would have had plenty of callers. You seen what the damn Pittsburgh Steelers just gave up for DK Metcalf, and they gave DK Metcalf the bag? What you think a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers would have did for T. Higgins? What do you think a team like the Green Bay Packers may or may not do for a player like T. Higgins because they so damn cheap and up they ass? And then you got Jamar Chase just sitting around waiting, throwing out cryptic tweets, talking about know your worth and then add tax. Oh, you thought that you was going to be able to keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase for the low? You didn't lost your top. Then you go out there and make a bonehead mistake and say, Trey Hendrickson. We know you still got 1 year left. We want to retain you, but you can go out there and seek a trade. And then you go out there and let them seek a trade. You get some suitors, but now you raise the price sky high when we know you don't want to pay the guy. We know you don't want to pay the guy. Just absolutely stupid. Minimal moves, not really moving the needle for me. And now you just got your talented quarterback in limbo because you don't want to pay none of his best guys or the blue chip guys on your team to help you fight for a championship. It's their fault. The Cincinnati Bengals' fault. They can't blame nobody else. So they're getting a big fat L from Bobby. That's it. The next team that deserves an L is the Detroit Lions. Come on, man. Let's keep it a buck. They done lost coaches. And y'all lost one of the best, if not the best, offensive play caller from this past season in Ben Johnson. Appreciate y'all, though. But y'all getting this big fat L. Then you lose Aaron Glenn, your DC. Now it's gonna be some pushback on losing Aaron Glenn, but I will add this. Look what he was able to do with all them damn injuries. I think they had like 12 defensive guys on IR. 12 defensive guys on IR. Now I'm not gonna sit up here and go hard and defend Aaron Glenn or defend the Detroit Lions simply because they had all these injuries, but it's fair. You know what I'm saying? But they still getting a big fat L because when you talk about the players that they lost, Carlton Davis is one of them. Right guard, Kevin Zeitler. Defensive end, Zadarius Smith. So not only did you lose top coordinators, you're losing some of your best players too. So they're going to have to do a bunch of rebuilding and retooling to make sure that they stay at the top of the NFC North, which is going to be very, very difficult to do with teams like Minnesota and Chicago making improvements like they are doing and losing those coordinators. Call it how I see it. Detroit Lions, you get a big fat L. The next team is the San Francisco 49ers. What are y'all doing? I understand there's a need for change. I do. I understand there's a need for change. I understand that you got to come to the terms and try to see how much you're going to pay Brock Purdy, and rightfully so. But none of that means anything if you're just getting rid of guys. These guys have got rid of Aaron Banks. They let him go to Green Bay. Shavarius Ward, Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, Javon Hargrave, Leonard Floyd, Malik Collins, and fullback Kyle Juszczyk. I hope I said his last name right. Y'all make sure y'all correct me and break that down too. Yeah, it ain't my look, guys. Some of these guys look. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be disrespectful. It's just that sometimes when it comes to, it is what it is. But nonetheless, you let all these guys go. What are we really fighting for at this point? Because now you, as being one of those top teams in the NFC West, or at least at one point in the NFC, at least was top 3 team in the NFC these last few years, you're not that anymore. You dropped out of that. Now, I understand that we still have the draft to come up and stuff for the 49ers to fix their issues, and rightfully so. However, what about the heartbeat of the team? That's Dre Greenlaw. You can say Fred Warner's that. So if Fred wanted a heart, Dre Greenlaw is one of the goddamn connections to the heart, to help the heart, on the defensive side at least. And I get it. You can go out there and draft some young players, for sure. But we know it ain't going to be too many of these Eagle situations to where guys can just pop off in year 1 or year 2 and just take off. You have to hit on drafts. But keep in mind that the Eagles, for them to build that young defense, they had to hit on multiple drafts. So to expect them, the San Francisco 49ers, to hit on all their draft picks in 2025, that's not being realistic. They can very well hit on most of the draft picks, but on all of them, to come in and compete and help you get back to being the top of the NFC West, the top of the NFC, good luck. Y'all get a big fat L. Now, the Cowboys, y'all losers too. And the reason y'all are losers is because y'all do all this goddamn talking and never be able to back it up. And for Jerry Jones to constantly come out here and say, we're all in, we're trying to improve this team, you continue to drop the ball on everything that you do. And then you go out there and you sign, your best signing, Cowboys, is a linebacker and Kenneth Murray. Rightfully so. Not mad at it. But all the other guys, you like, okay, he was a rotational play over here. Okay, he might have some upside. Cool, fine and dandy. But you did nothing to push yourself closer to the Eagles and the Commanders within your own division. And now y'all talking greasy online, which leads us to the Demarcus Lawrence and the Micah Parsons stuff. Let's talk about it. Demarcus Lawrence did an interview, pretty much said it was about time to leave Dallas. We weren't winning no championship out over there. Fair enough. Me personally, no pun intended, no shot taken if I was a player that played in Dallas. Micah Parsons felt the need to jump in and say that's some clown stuff. Okay, you can call it whatever the hell you want to call it. But if the man's speaking the truth, what's to be mad about? Micah Parsons, you finna win a championship in 2025? Are you? So my only point is, and here's my response to the whole situation. Micah Parsons, don't you think this shit that you pulling is the problem with America's team? Micah Parsons, don't you think this is the problem with America's team? Call a spade, bro. Y'all been winning games, but how many times have you failed in the playoffs when you had high expectations after being labeled America's team or a team that can compete for a championship? How many times did you drop the ball, my boy? Call a spade a spade. This is the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys want to treat this like some goddamn soap opera and think they about to get Emmys and stuff. No, you're not getting no Emmy. You're chasing Lombardi. So as America's team, tell Jerry Jones, shut the hell up. And quite frank with you, Jerry Jones fell asleep during free agency and then finally woke up and let all the players go other places. What was the point of opening up $56 million in cap space? What was the point? If you're not going to get anybody that was going to help you move the needle and get closer to the teams that are within your division before we can talking about moving up in the damn NFC. Then you got guys like CeeDee Lamb coming out taking shots at the Chicago Bears. I don't necessarily consider it a big shot. I mean, it is real. The Bears were trash last year. Let's call a spade a spade. But you were trash too. So you could have just said, yeah, teams like us, look internal first. That's the problem. The Dallas Cowboys don't look internal. They want to be media guys. They want to have podcasts, which is nothing wrong with that. But when it's in season, let's focus on the damn season. That's the problem. Because Micah Parsons, I seen you have spectacular seasons, and then in the playoffs when teams say we running that Micah, you don't show up. Tell me. Call a spade, Micah Parsons. Call a spade, Micah Parsons. When was the last time a defensive coordinator said we're going to run that TJ Watt? We're going to run that Myles Garrett. We're going to run that Nick Bosa. Call a spade, bro. Micah Parsons, it's just clear, bro. Keep it quiet, bro. Keep it quiet. And how you going to get mad at somebody for speaking the truth, bro? Y'all ain't winning shit. Ain't winning nothing no time soon. So a guy that say we ain't finna win over there, you don't have to like it, but you're going to go out there and make some noise for what? What improvements have your team made to put y'all back in prosperity? Nothing. That's my response. Hate it or love it. It is what it is. But that is it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. Make sure you're on your way out. You hit that like button, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that notification bell as well. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm out of here. Peace.